I am here with Kenda Creasy Dean, the wonderful and awesome. Kenda, I wanted to ask you a few questions on behalf of the youth worker movement, and just wanted to hear some of your thoughts on, what's going on in youth ministry today across the United States as we're kind of in this world of transition economically. What do you think is one of the pressing elements of youth ministry today?
Well, here's what I heard somebody say yesterday, which I thought really kind of nailed it. And understand that I'm talking to Amy at a conference that we are at together, and so we've heard a lot of the same people speaking here. And, and what this pastor said was, she said, I get it. She said, we've created a monster. And now we've got to figure out what to do with it. And, I think it's a benign, it's a friendly monster, It's not like this is something that's going to eat us alive, but it is going to sap us of our resources and our energy, and if we aren't careful, our mission. Mm-hmm. So the monster I think that she was talking about is the form and the structural elements and in some ways even the professional expectations of youth ministry, right? Mm-hmm. That's the way I understood it. That the reason it's a monster is not because it's ill-intentioned. It's filled with people with great intentions, but because in creating these structures and these forms, we also reduce mission to the structure and the forms, right? And then we get caught up in being the people who provide the programs rather than the people who do the pastoring. The problem's been named all over the place now, and so I don't think there's a lot of dispute that this is the problem that we're facing. The question is now, what do we do with this? Right. So, what are the options? We could get rid of the monster, okay, and we could throw out youth ministry and integrate kids into the church as a whole. I'm dubious that would be the solution we want, because there have been good things that have happened. Youth groups, just for an example, do a lot of good things. They don't happen to be great for creating faith, but they do really important things for kids developmentally, for helping them understand systems, for working through institutions, to making them good community members, that sort of thing. We want those things for our kids. Right. They also provide peer relationships that are important as they grow and develop. We know all those things. How do we shift the focus from that to actually creating a context where faith and deepening faith, maturing faith, is what matters and what happens in those contexts? So, there's a lot of good things that are going on. So I don't think getting rid of the monster is the idea, is the best thing. The other, in some cases, the monster kind of takes over the whole church, right? Yes. And that's kind of an interesting development, because there's a positive way to look at that, right? Right. There's, I hear about these churches, just because I know people who are serving in them, where people come to them and they say, people in the congregation come to the youth pastor and say, I want you to do for the adults the kind of ministry, the quality of ministry that our kids are getting. Right. That's a great thing. That's a good opportunity. Right. Right. But at the same time, the church is more than a youth group. Mm-hmm. And so unless the youth group is understood as the mission of the church, right, we risk reducing things down to program or something like that. Stuff like that. And so, there are other options that are probably out there, but we're clearly in the middle of figuring it out. And the fear, of course, is that we won't figure it out fast enough. Right. And people will leave, and youth will leave, and we won't have, and it is now documented. I don't know, is this another question that we were going to talk about or not? But because it's documented that the means of faith formation we have been using for the last 60 years anyway are simply not sufficient to create mature, viable, lively, life-giving faith in either individuals or congregations. We know that we're barking up the wrong tree somehow, and so to have to continue structures that do not seem to be feeding into vital congregations and vital faith there's a real question on whether, is that where we want to put our energy?
Some guru.